Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhaktasivaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Canto 6, today we're starting new chapter, chapter 9, Appearance of the Demon Vritrasura. Text number 1 onwards. So in the previous chapter, we studied the Narayan Kavach that was given by Vishwarupa for the protection of the demigods. So after King Indra recited this Narayan Kavach, he conquered the demons and enjoyed all the opulences of 3 worlds. But there is always some twist in the story. So anyway, let's see what that twist is. Shri Shukuvacha Tasyasan Vishwarupasya Shiransi Trini Bharata Somapitham Surapitham Annadam Iti Shushrum. Shri Shukdev Goswami continued. Vishwarup, who was engaged as a priest of the demigods, had 3 heads. He used one to drink the beverage somaras, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. O King Parikshit, thus I have heard from the authorities. So even Shukdev Goswami is saying, this I have heard, that Vishwarup had 3 heads. Now you'll say, how come he had 3 heads? I don't know. This is what Bhagavatam says. One cannot directly perceive the kingdom of heavens, its king and other inhabitants, or how they perform their various engagements. For no one can go to the heavenly planets. Although modern scientists have invented many powerful space vehicles, they cannot even go to the moon, not to speak of other planets. By direct experience, one cannot learn anything beyond the range of human perception. One must hear from authorities. Therefore, Shukdev Goswami, a great personality, says, what I am describing to you, O king, is what I have heard from authoritative sources. This is the Vedic system. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti because it must be received by being heard from authorities. It is beyond the realm of our false experimental knowledge. So how come he had 3 heads and he used to use different heads for different things? First, one to drink the beverage somaras, another to drink wine, and the third to eat food. Savai barhishi devebhyo bhagam pratyaksham uchchakah adadad yasya pitro deva saprashrayam dripa. O Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods were related to Vishwarupa from his father's side, and therefore he visibly offered clarified butter in the fire while chanting mantras such as Indraidam Swaha, this is meant for King Indra, and Idam Agnaye Swaha, this is for the demigod of fire. He loudly chanted these mantras and offered each of the demigods his proper share. So after the Narayan Kavacha, he did the Yagya also, and for every demigod, he was making the offerings. Very loudly he was chanting. But Sa evahi dadau bhagam paroksham asuran prati yajamano avhat agam matri sneha vashanugaha. Although offering clarified butter in the sacrificial fire in the name of the demigods, without the knowledge of the demigods, he also offered oblations to the demons because they were his relatives through his mother. Because of Vishwarupa's affection for the families of both the demigods and the demons, he appeased the Supreme Lord on behalf of both dynasties. When he offered oblations in the fire on behalf of the Asuras, he did so secretly, without the knowledge of the demigods. See, always, some twist is always there in the story. Tad deva helanam tasya dharma likam sureshwara alakshatara sabhitas tatchirnaya chidnad rusha. Once upon a time, however, the king of heaven, Indra, understood that Vishwarupa was secretly cheating the demigods by offering oblations on behalf of the demons. He became extremely afraid of being defeated by the demons. And what did he do? And in great anger at Vishwarupa, he cut Vishwarupa's 3 heads from his shoulders. So this is material world. Even the king of heaven, king of all the demigods, Indra, he was afraid of being defeated by the demons and afraid of being taken away all his opulences, all his possessions by the demons, just like earlier. So what did he do? He cut off Vishwarupa's heads. Vishwarupa was a Brahman. He was his spiritual master as well. Vishwarupa had given him Narayan Kavacha. But because it didn't serve his purpose, why the demons were also getting powerful. Of course, he was getting power. He was getting all his powers because of the austerities of Vishwarupa and the sacrifice he was performing. But he was afraid if demons become more powerful, they'll again take over my kingdom. So he didn't even shy away from killing a Brahman. Somapitham tuyati tasya shir asit kapinjala kalpa vinka sura pitham annadam yat satitiri. Thereafter, the head meant for drinking somaras was transformed into a kapinjala, Francolin partridge. I think it's a bird, some kind of bird. Similarly, the head meant for drinking wine was transformed into Kalavinka, sparrow. And the head meant for eating food became a titiri, common partridge. Brahma hatyam anjalina jagra yadapishvaraha samvatsarante tadagham bhutanam savishuddhaye bhumyam buddhrum yoshidhyash chaturdha vibhajadhari. Although Indra was so powerful that he could neutralize the sinful reactions for killing a Brahman, he repentantly accepted the burden of these reactions with folded hands. He suffered for 1 year, and then to purify himself, he distributed the reactions for his sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. So this is different science. We cannot even understand all this. What is happening? So Indra committed this offense. He committed this sin of killing a Brahman. See, even the position of Indra, there's always anxiety. So even heavenly planets are full of anxieties, and only Vaikuntha where there is no anxiety. But everywhere else in the material world, there is anxiety of enjoying or controlling or being afraid of others that they will come and take it away. This tendency will always be there. Only in the spiritual world, devotees don't have this tendency. Because they always surrender to Krishna. They don't care whatever happens. So he distributed the reactions for this sinful killing among the earth, water, trees, and women. Okay, what did he do? Bhumisturiyam jagraha khat purvarena bhay iridam brahma hatyaya rupam bhumo pradrishyate. In return for King Indra's benediction that ditches in the earth would be filled, automatically the land accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahman. Because of those sinful reactions, we find many deserts on the surface of the earth. Because deserts are manifestations of the earth's diseased condition, no auspicious ritualistic ceremony can be performed in a desert. Persons destined to live in deserts are understood to be sharing the reactions for the sins of Brahmahatya, the killing of a Brahman. So that's how the deserts appeared on the surface of the earth. Of course, deserts these days means lots of oil, and that means lots of money. But they appeared because of the reaction of sin of Brahmahatya. And in return, what the earth got was the ditches in the earth would be filled automatically. So that it happens. So the ditches are there, and then the air blows, and they get filled up with the soil. Turyam ched virohena varena jagruhur druma tesham nirya sarupena brahmahatya pradrishyate. In return for Indra's benediction that the branches and twigs would grow back when trimmed, the trees accepted 1/4 of the reactions for killing a Brahman. These reactions are visible in the flowing of sap from trees. Therefore, one is forbidden to drink this sap. So the trees ask, okay, can our branches and twigs grow back when they are trimmed? So we'll take the reaction of your 1/4 of the reaction, and in return they said, okay, what? The sap will flow from the trees. So we always see some kind of sap coming out of the trees. So one should not drink that sap. That has a reaction of killing a Brahman. Shashwat kama varena hansa turiyam jagruhu striya rajo rupena tansvaham masi pradrishyate. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that they would be able to enjoy lusty desires continuously, even during pregnancy, for as long as sex is not injurious to the embryo, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. As a result of those reactions, women manifest the signs of menstruation every month. Okay, now this purport again, it's Prabhupada's writing. It's for us, it's a little controversial, but this is what Prabhupada has written. Women as a class are very lusty, and apparently their continuous lusty desires are never satisfied. In return for Lord Indra's benediction that there would be no cessation to their lusty desires, women accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions for killing a Brahman. And that 1/4 of sinful reaction manifested as a signs of menstruation every month. The menstruation cycle is a sign of that. And actually, that is one of the reasons ladies are not supposed to do any cooking for the deities or cooking in the house in general, or touch the deities or do any worship of the deities at that time. It's not that they become dirty. I mean, that's how it is presented these days. One reason is this, and another reason is, yes, it's very painful and very, it takes away lots of energy, lots of strength, enfeebling. So they're supposed to take rest during that time. But it has been presented in a wrong way, and that's when it just gives a wrong connotation to that. Dravya bhuyo varena pusturiyam jagruhur malam tasu budbud fenabhyam drishtam tadharti kshipan. And in return for King Indra's benediction that water would increase the volume of other substances with which it was mixed, water accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. Therefore, there are bubbles and foam in water. When one collects water, these should be avoided. If water is mixed with milk, fruit juice, or other similar substances, it increases the volume and no one can understand which has increased. In return for this benediction, water accepted 1/4 of Indra's sinful reactions. These sinful reactions are visible in foam and bubbles on water. Therefore, one should avoid foam and bubbles while drinking water. Or let the foam and bubbles go away. Like when we put a glass under the tap, so many times the bubbles are formed on the surface of the water. So before drinking it, let the bubbles go away. And in return, what it got, when it is mixed with other liquids, it just increases the volume. And this is, the milkman always loves it. That's how they can add water to the milk and nobody knows how much water is there and how much milk is there. Hattaputras tatas tvashta juhavendraya shatrave indra shatru vivirdhasva machiram jahi vidvisham. After Vishwarupa was killed, his father Tvashta performed ritualistic ceremonies to kill Indra. Although Tvashta is one of the demigods, but why did Indra kill my son? So he performed a sacrifice to kill Indra. He offered oblations in the sacrificial fire, saying, "Oh, enemy of Indra, flourish to kill your enemy without delay." Again, some twist. There was some defect in Tvashta's chanting of the mantra because he chanted it long instead of short. And therefore the meaning changed. Tvashta intended to chant the word Indra Shatru, meaning, "O enemy of Indra." In this mantra, the word Indra is in the possessive case, Shashti, and the word Indra Shatru is called a Tatpurusha compound, Tatpurusha Samas. Unfortunately, instead of chanting the mantra short, Indra Shatru, Tvashta chanted it long, and its meaning changed from the enemy of Indra to Indra, who is an enemy. Consequently, instead of an enemy of Indra's, there emerged the body of Vritrasura, of whom Indra was the enemy. Now, okay, first of all, it is grammar, and I don't know Sanskrit grammar. Prabhupada knows so. So, Indra Shatru versus Indra Shatru. That's what he chanted, Indra Shatru. Now, what's the difference between the enemy of Indra versus Indra, who's an enemy? Or like, as Prabhupada said, there emerged the body of Vritrasura, of whom Indra was the enemy. So actually what it means, the enemy of, if he had said enemy of Indra should be born, means that person would be stronger and he would be able to kill Indra. But rather he said, a person should be born of whom Indra was the enemy. So Indra would be able to kill Vritrasura. Now just one letter mistake. That's how powerful these Vedic mantras are. Even one, not a letter, a syllable, one syllable, here or there, the whole mantra can become different or just have opposite effect, completely opposite effect. That is why when Prabhupada says, because he always says in this day and age, you cannot find pure Brahmins who can chant the mantras properly or who can do the yajna. And I always used to wonder, what does it mean by that? I mean, we know so many Brahmins and they chant so nicely. Of course, we don't understand the Sanskrit that they chant. But this is where the secret is. One syllable, just one syllable, mistake, and the whole yagya is ruined. That's it. And that's why in Treta Yuga, these Brahmins used to practice this chanting and the performance of yagyas for so many years before they could become full Brahman. And then again, they would have to practice and or get trained, just like we have intern engineers and doctors. They would be intern Brahmins or the priests. And then they would get qualified to perform the yajna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he knew what kind of people he's going to have in Kali Yuga. Forget about all these Vedic mantras. We can't even chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra properly. That's our condition. So Mahaprabhu said, Nam Namakari Bhuta Nit Sarva Shakti Satra Arpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala. That there is no rules. Like all these Vedic mantras, you cannot just chant any time of the day. One has to be properly situated. Mahaprabhu said, okay, in this chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, no rules. Anytime, anywhere, in any condition, while taking bath, you can chant. While passing stool, one can chant. While going to sleep, one can chant. While getting up, he can chant. While without taking bath, he can chant. Just chant. That's all. so much of leniency Mahaprabhu has towards the chanters. So much of discount is given. Still, we find excuse for not chanting. Athan Vaharya Pachnad Uttitho Ghor Darshana Kritanta Vilokanam Yuganta Samaya Yata. Thereafter, from the southern side of the sacrificial fire known as Anvaharya came a fearful personality who looked like the destroyer of the entire creation at the end of the millennium. So that was Vritrasura. Vishvavirdhamanam Tameshamuta Umatra Dine Dine Dagdashal Pratikasham Sandhya Bhranik Varchasam Taptam Tamra Shikha Shamshum Madhyaha Var Kogra Lochanam Dedipyamane Trishike Shul Aropya Rodasi Nirtyantam Unnadantam Cha Chalayantam Padamahim Lihata Jivya Rakshani Grasta Bhuvanatrayam Mahata Rodra Danshvena Jrimba Manam Muhur Vitrasta Dudruvur Loka Viksha Sarve Disho Dasha. Like arrows released in the four directions, the demon's body grew day after day, tall and blackish. He appeared like a burnt hill and was as lustrous as a bright array of clouds in the evening. The hair on the demon's body and his beard and mustache were the color of melted copper, and his eyes were piercing like the midday sun. He appeared unconquerable, as if holding the three worlds on the point of his blazing trident. Dancing and shouting with a loud voice, he made the entire surface of the earth tremble, as if from an earthquake. As he yawned again and again, he seemed to be trying to swallow the whole sky with his mouth, which was as deep as a cave. He seemed to be licking up all the stars in the sky with his tongue and eating the entire universe with his long, sharp teeth. Seeing this gigantic demon, everyone in great fear ran here and there in all directions. So Vritrasura had appeared. येनावृता इमे लोकास्तप्सत्वाष्ट्रमूर्तिना स वै वृत्र इति प्रोक्तः पापः परम दारुणः. That very fearful demon who was actually the son of Tushta covered all the planetary systems by dint of austerity. Therefore, he was named Vritra, or one who covers everything. In the Vedas, it is said, Sa iman lokan, because the demon covered all the planetary systems. His name was Vritrasura. So, how big he must be, we can just imagine. That's all. तम निज घुर अभिद्रुत्य सगणा विबुधर शबः स्वे स्वर दिव्य शस्त्रोघ सो अग्रसत तानि कृत्स्नशः. The demigods headed by Indra charged the demon with their soldiers, striking him with their own transcendental bows and arrows and other weapons. But Vritrasura swallowed all their weapons. ततस्ते विस्मिता सर्वे विषण्णा ग्रस्त तेजसः प्रत्यञ्चमादिपुरुषम् उपतस्थु समाहिता. Struck with wonder and disappointment upon seeing the strength of the demon, the demigods lost their own strength. Therefore, they all met together to try to please the super soul, the supreme personality of God at Narayan, by worshipping him. So this is one thing about the demigod, because they all are devotees. Whatever happens, and they try to do something on their own, and if they fail, they just go take shelter of Krishna or Narayan by worshipping him. And that's when Narayan, Krishna or Vishnu, they have to come and protect the demigods. So anyway, we'll stop here and we'll continue with the story tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments. Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.